Yeah. All right. Let me put this up. And we've already talked about 2 commitments here today from this exciting weekend of recruiting. We had 2 commitments last weekend with Janari Carr and then Caden Hall committed on Wednesday. So this week we already have 2, but we're going to round out the rest of this recruiting weekend here. We're going to start off with the biggest name from this class or from this recruiting trip. Sadarian Morgan, 5-star receiver, number 1 receiver in my opinion in the class. He's 6'4", 220. I believe he's ranked 11th on the 247 composite. Out of Alexander City, Alabama. That's a big school, right? Didn't they produce like Quay Rousseau and there's like 2 5-stars in the D-line in one class from them that year, I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember, to be honest with you, but it's very possible.
Yeah, so big out of a big school from Alabama coming in. I mean, we talked about it before. I can't remember if we talked earlier in the show or if I was telling you about it. I made the prediction before this, like a couple months ago when he announced he's high on Florida and taking OV, that we'd end up finishing second behind Alabama. Well, he just finished up his official visit, and he said Florida's either first or second, which sounds great, and it is great, obviously, but the thing we're forgetting is he still has 2 official visits to Auburn and Alabama, who have been the 2 teams that with the most buzz in his recruitment so far. Now, maybe that official visit changed things up because he's taken some other ones. Where did he go to? I think Colorado and Georgia. He's already visited, so he's experienced some OVs, so it shouldn't be an OV high from UF because it's not his first one he's ever taken. So maybe there is some buzz, and maybe there's a chance he ends up being a Gator come July 2nd on his commitment date. But however, I think his whole household is Bama. I think we passed Auburn. Like, I don't think he goes to Auburn. I think we finish second, maybe first, but I think there's a good chance we finish second, but maybe we are just like the best official visit in the country.
Does seem like guys are always very high on us after they leave, whether that sustains itself or not. But yeah, I mean, when I was saying earlier that when you look at the receiver targets, they've kind of got like their plan A guys and their plan B guys. Like Sadarian Morgan was kind of pretty clearly who I was thinking of when I was talking about plan A guys, like the elite guys that they're shooting their shot for. I mean, like, it's good to see that it seems that these visits are being impactful and that Florida's getting in the mix. I mean, you know, if you're in the mix for a 5-star guy that, you know, Alabama and Auburn are both going after, that's good. A 5-star from Alabama, I should say. Like, that's what you like to see. It's just, yeah, I'm kind of with you. It kind of feels like there's just too much ground to make up here for the Gators. I mean, obviously would love to see, I mean, it would be the highest, it'd be the best receiver commit the Gators have gotten in, I don't even know how long, assuming assuming he stays where he's at in the rankings. But this just seems like a little too late, probably, especially like you said, with the visits he's got upcoming.
The way I see it, I think he's going to commit to Bama on July 2nd. The way I see him ending up at Florida, we know the staff is going to keep recruiting these kids. Like, unless you're committed to Clemson, where you can't recruit them because they just don't let you. But I think we're going to keep recruiting him. Maybe DJ Lagway is one of the best QBs in the country, and Bama just, again, doesn't have the QB play and maybe disappoints, like, only gets 8 wins. But, and everyone's just low on the board and they don't have the QB. Maybe you're able to flip him. I mean, that's really the way I see it. If it does end up at Florida, I just don't think he can. It's to us on the 2nd. Like, again, anything can happen in recruiting. So we'll see, but I don't see it happening for us as of now.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
However, another name, he's number 31 of the composite, only a 4-star, but he's 31 of the composite. Basically a 5-star. He's the highest ranked 4-star. Jake Krull out of Orlando, plays at IMG Academy, edge rusher, 6'2.5", 220. I saw a comparison for his recruitment to Vernell Browns from last year, where early in the year, a lot of people were like, he's taking the recruitment very seriously. He's like, okay, I'm not just going to go to Florida because that's where my dad went and that's the hometown school. A lot of people were favoring Ohio State early on in Vernell Brown's recruitment. And I know a lot of people around us were saying, like, yeah, they think he goes to Ohio State. But then before the season, Florida makes a push, and he's a big Gator, and it felt like there was no chance he was going anywhere but Florida. Now, I think Krull has been a bit more adamant that his Florida upbringings aren't going to have any factor in this recruitment. Last week he was on Ohio State podcast and said that, yeah, it has zero factor. I think he does have a factor. I think he wants to say it doesn't.
Yeah.
But
how can it not?
Right? How can it not? I mean, it's also like Florida was third in the SEC last year in sacks. Mm-hmm. Now we were second in sacks per game. We were only behind Texas. Have played like 3 or 4 more games than us, so they finished with more sacks. So we were basically second in sacks last year in the SEC. I mean, if our D line is showing out, it's like, oh, you're going to get developed here. Just look out. We're getting to the quarterback. We're going to offer competitive NIL. I know Oklahoma is the team that people like. I think this recruitment going into the visits are still pretty open, but Oklahoma was the team that was seen as like the furthest ahead or ahead. It's like if you're trying to get to 100% to finish, like I feel like Oklahoma's at like 20 and everyone else is like 15. Like there was nothing there. But he left the official visit saying it was actually Lincoln Watkins, who was a tight end on the visit here, who in an interview was saying he was talking to other guys like Jake Cruel, and Cruel was saying like, man, this place, the environment, everything around it is like no other. It's not even close to anywhere else. Like, I know we keep saying that it doesn't have a factor, but I think it is. And we're still going to offer competitive NIL. We're still going to, I mean, if we have a good season, you know, like if Billy Napier's fired, then all this recruiting talk doesn't matter because we don't really know what's going to happen then. But like, I think we're going to get Jake Cruel.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say this kind of seems like it's developing into, like you said, it's still pretty wide open, but it does seem like it's sort of Oklahoma and Florida that are emerging as the teams to watch here. I mean, yeah, I mean, talking about maybe we just have the best official visits in the country. I mean, he certainly seemed to be high on it after his trip. I mean, I don't know if you've been on social media, ton of video, TikTok videos.
Oh, yeah.
And
I saw it.
And stuff. Like there were multiple ones that kind of made the rounds. So he seemed excited, seemed to be having fun. So
he was at Ohio State last weekend, and he's hyping this trip up, and it's like it was head and shoulders above the Ohio State one. So it's like, it's not, again, like how I mentioned with Morgan, it's not like it's his first official visit and, you know, it's like, oh, this is how the rest are going to be. It's like, this is his third official visit now, I think. And he's talking about it in like a whole new tier. I don't know, man. I just think it's good. I think he's going to be a Gator.
Yeah, I think, you know, looking at him, it's interesting, like between the way he's listed and just looking at the videos, like he looks a bit undersized for like a borderline 5-star edge. I mean, he's smaller than DJ Lagway. He's like listed at 6'3". He's listed at 6'3", 230. But I mean, obviously a talented player playing at IMG and has gotten quite a bit of attention. So,
I mean, now this kind of hurts us, but a comparison I saw for him was Nick Bonito, who was a player in 2022 under Brent Venables at Oklahoma, who was an edge rusher, was a first or second round draft pick. Where was he drafted? He was drafted, I think, the second round. Yeah, he was the last pick of the second round. So a player that was highly successful under Brent Venables at Oklahoma, who was a bit undersized, but more of a speed passer. Bonito's still only 6'3", 240. So a bit undersized for a pass rusher there. So I know a big reason he really likes Oklahoma. His friend is going to Oklahoma, and his relationship with Venables and the proven ability to develop edge rushers like himself. But I don't know. I feel like everything it's too much to not be Florida, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you here. I definitely, I mean, things can change quickly, and he kind of seems like, I don't even mean this like as a dig. He just seems like kind of a guy that, like, the vibes can be swayed pretty easily. So we'll kind of see if that maintains throughout the rest of his visits. But I would definitely say Florida has the upper hand right now. Like if signing day were tomorrow, I would feel pretty good.
If signing day, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think he goes to Oklahoma next weekend. I feel like that may determine my opinion on what happens here. I mean, you can never discredit Ohio State. I think Texas is his other official visit, if I'm not mistaken. Checking. Yeah, Texas. And he visits Ole Miss actually tomorrow. I'm not really worried about Ole Miss there, but it's like Ohio State, Texas, big money programs. You can never count them out. But like, if the Oklahoma visit isn't getting the sunshine and rainbows that our visit got, like, I just don't see how it doesn't end up here. Especially if so he says he wants to make a decision like October. Say he comes down for a couple games. Like if he comes down to that Texas game and we win that game, I don't see how he doesn't come here.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because that environment is going to be crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
Even if we lose, like it's still gonna be wild there.
Unless we're like go into it like 500, but even then it'll probably still be pretty good.
I mean, the environment's gonna be crazy.
That's what I'm saying. It'll still be
USF or Stanford.
Yeah.
All right. The next player we're going to talk about, another edge rusher out of Huntsville, Alabama, committed to Auburn, Hezekiah Harris. This is one that I've heard we've kind of dialed down a little bit. Like earlier in the year, he was still committed to Auburn, but Florida was really on his trail. Since then, I've heard we dialed down. I think it's because we have other edge rushers we're pushing for. But I've heard he's still considering Auburn, Tennessee, and Florida. I think if a team flips him, it would be Tennessee. But I think his brother plays for Auburn.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I think I'm double checking on that, but I think he does. Yeah, Malachi Harris, an offensive line transfer from Austin P.
Yep. Okay. I don't think he ends up in this class. It sounded like the official visit went really well, and he still consider us, but I don't think, because I think we're getting Cruel and another name about to mention. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd say this one here between the brother element and just Florida's interest, I'd say this probably is trending towards now.
Next name we're going to mention, Kevin or KJ Ford, edge 6'3", 245 out of Duncanville, Texas. Took his official visit. I've been told for a while that Florida is like a dark horse team to watch here. And then everyone knows, I mean, assuming you guys watching know who Heisman is on Twitter and everything, a Booster Insider. He always posts when we're about to get commit and everything. He tweeted a picture of a Ford truck and heavily implies some like big moves were made at KJ Ford. He didn't do any interviews after the visit. He actually he got out the building and got in an SUV with Joe Hamilton, one of our recruiting directors, who's also from Texas. I've heard Joe Hamilton is a huge part of this recruitment. I mean, getting Joe Hamilton back from Texas A&M earlier this year, I think is huge for us. There's a bunch of big edge names on our board, and it's like if we're able to get Cruel and Ford, that's phenomenal. I think we get Ford. I'm gonna take it. I think we get Ford. Which getting both of them is just wild.
Yeah, Ford from Duncanville, one of like they've had a lot of really good prospects in the last few years. Colin Simmons, I believe Caden Durham. No, wait, am I thinking of Harlem? Either Harlem Berry or Caden Durham. One of those two LSU running backs went to Duncanville. So did DeCorian Moore, the 5-star receiver.
Yep.
The 5-star receiver from last cycle went there too. So yeah, they produced some really good players. Yeah. Like I think he could be one of them. He's rated really high. I mean, we'll see. Like, I think, when like A&M's in on it with a Texas guy, you get a little nervous, but it does seem like Florida's built some pretty nice momentum here. So,
yep. Next one that I've been on for a while, talked about him a while ago, wide receiver, 6'3" at 180 out of St. Augustine. Also, our earlier commit, Chancellor Campbell, also out St. Augustine, different high schools, but Samaran Wingo, 6'3", I already said 180, ranked 156 on the composite, I think.
155.
155, one off, dang.
Yeah.
But he visited Miami last week. I know Miami had some confidence. I don't think this recruitment, I don't know if it's over yet, but like I feel confident. We got a crystal ball for him. Gators have been really high on him for a while now, like since last year. He got on campus a good bit for a couple of our games last year as well, I'm pretty sure. So I expect him to be in our class. And I'm really high on him, man. I mean, he was ranked in like the low 200s a couple months ago when I first got on him. Now he's into the 150s, could continue to rise still. I think Rivals just has him unranked right now, which is holding him back a bit. But I think he could be someone that could finish in like that top 100-ish area.
Yeah, this is one I'm excited about personally. Really hope the Gators close it out with him. Exciting for me on a few levels because one, he's a really good player. Two, from my neck of the woods down in St. Augustine, so a little Brandon James action here maybe. They're not exactly similar players, but hey, the last receiver Gators got from St. Augustine worked out pretty well. So yeah, I mean, I think Brandon James, yeah,
I got it.
Also got Caleb Sturgis from St.
Oh,
Augustine. So.
yeah, kicker, nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this to me, like talking about the receiver recruiting, just another like high level blue chip guy, top 200 guy would be a really nice addition. I mean, Billy Gonzalez, like I think Billy Gonzalez has to be one of the most underrated assistants in America, right? Like you never
Yeah,
hear
I
his
mean,
name come up on these like national lists or anything like that. But between the development, both, you know, all of his stints here, because he's had quite a few of them. And then now I think the way the recruiting's really picked up these last couple cycles of the receiver position, like they're doing a really good job in that room.
yeah, they absolutely are. Next, Justin Williams, you already talked about, ended up committing. Next, Brody Jennings, 4-star corner out of Mandarin, Jacksonville, same high school as Stubbs and Tremel Jones and Jaime French, who ended up going to Texas. But I mean, stacked high school, committed to Michigan, 6'1", 185. The visit's going well. I just think we have other corners because CJ Bronow and Chauncey Keenan, CJ Hester. I don't know where they rank Brody if they rank him above any of those guys or what.
Yeah.
I don't think we're taking 4 corners, and I expect those. Keenan, I'm not as confident in, but I think we get Keenan. But like, yeah, it's interesting with Brody right now. So I don't know what's happening with him because I know a lot of people who are higher on him than his rankings. Like he's a real physical corner. So maybe like similar comps like Devin Moore coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens there. I know Miami is also really pressuring to flip him as well. They thought they had a really good visit. So we'll see. I just don't know what happens here.
Yeah. So, I mean, the connection with the Mandarin connection with Stubbs and Tremel Jones too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, the connection there makes this interesting. I think my kind of hang up is just like, first of all, like you said, there's other guys that Florida's kind of in the mix for, maybe even prioritizing a little bit more. And then also you kind of get to the point of they kind of have to ask the question, like Michigan has been willing to spend recently, and depending on how badly they want this kid, like, is it worth getting in a bidding war with them when there's other guys who you probably have a pretty good chance at, who you like as much, if not more? Like, that's kind of where my hesitancy here comes. I don't know. Like, yeah, it doesn't really feel like a guy that Florida is putting maximum effort into right now, but you never know.
Yep. All right, next we're going to talk about 4-star defensive lineman Preston Kerry from New York, but plays at IMG Academy, 6'4", 280. What is his composite? I don't know that.
282.
282, so a pretty good composite ranking there for Preston Kerry. We're going after Vodney Cleveland. We're going after Valdon Stone. We're going after Jarayla McCoy. There's apparently another big-time defensive tackle we're going after that I don't know the name of, but like a Kendall Gervil might be still, or James Johnson. There's some other big-time names that we're still in it for. I mentioned it earlier. His forearms are just massive. I mean, I just don't know if he's a take, which is weird to say for a player of that caliber and our recruiting history on the defensive line.
Yeah, Florida doesn't really have a lot of positions where they can afford to say like, "Hey, 4-star, you're not a take." But I could kind of see this being one of them just because they have just again like Brody Jennings. They just have other guys at the position that they seem to be better positioned for, seem to probably like a little bit more, and just seem to be all in all spending a little bit more time on. So yeah, I mean, I think if they decide he's a take, I mean, also officially visiting, it looks like Bama and USC. And
I have
Rutgers.
Auburn, Georgia, Rutgers, and Bama here on 3.
Okay, yeah, 247 lists a Bama visit on June 17 and USC on June 20. Maybe that's an unofficial to USC. That might be.
I don't know.
Either way, I mean, yeah, if he's a take, I think you probably have a decent shot at him. What's that?
I say, yeah, big time schools after.
Yeah,
Like, it's
no,
weird
there's
for a guy of
definitely
this caliber
interest.
not to be a take here.
Yeah, like, but I kind of agree though. It's sort of there just hasn't. I feel like there hasn't been like an absurd amount of smoke here for a guy who's committing in in 3 weeks. You know.
Oh yeah, he does have commit dates. I forgot about that.
Yeah, June 30th.
Yep. All right, next 4-star wide receiver, Garen Williams out of Plant, same high school as Waltez or Duke Clark, Tampa, Florida, 5'11", 165, real speedster. I just don't think he's a take now that we took Justin Williams. And apparently there was something weird that happened as he was leaving the facility. It may have been something along like he wanted to commit and maybe we told him no. I mean, I don't know what happened. I'm not trying to start any rumors here, so don't take anything I say for what it is. But if we want him still, I assume we could land him pretty easily. But yeah, I know people like him at a DB a bit more than receiver, which may be something that monitor in the future. But right now, I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say if you see him decommit from FSU, he's probably a Gator. Like that probably means if it's not an instant flip, if it's just a decommit, that probably means that Florida decided he was a take, because it doesn't really seem like there's anyone else pushing here particularly hard. But I just say with what they've already got, with potentially Samaran Wingo, I mean, we'll see. A lot of smoke there. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition. You know, the guys they're targeting, like Cedarian Morgan, like you just kind of feel like this is one where the only reason you would take it is to spite your rival, and I don't really see Billy doing that. So
yeah. We've already talked about Chancellor Campbell, committed to a 6'8", 310 out of Lakewood, St. Petersburg. Next, the last two players, 3-star tight ends. These are really interesting here. So Lincoln Watkins out of Port Huron, Minnesota, I think. 6'4", 225. What is your rank on the composite? Is it in the 500?
Sorry, are you talking about Lincoln Watkins?
Yeah.
1 second. He is 467. He's a 3-star.
467. Okay. Bit more of a receiving threat at 6'4", 225. So he named us his leader, but the thing is, we're in it for Hezekiah Kent and Caden Prothero, who just got to be clearly above them on the board. And I've also heard the next guy we're going to talk about, Kekua Awamua Rhino, is also above him on the board. I just don't know how many tight ends they plan to take, because I assume 2, but maybe they take one of Watkins or Amua and then try to take Kent, and then we'll see what happens with Prothero. And if you land Prothero, you take 3, or one of them end up or like the other one ends up walking or something like that. But if we want him, I don't think it's a lock, because I know Nebraska and Tennessee, I think, are also in it pretty well. So, but I think if we wanted him right now, I think he'd be a Gator, but I'm just not sure where we're going with that right now.
Yeah, so I was pulling some stuff up. So sorry if you mentioned this and I missed it, but he landed a crystal ball to Florida a couple days ago.
I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of the case like a few other guys we talked about. If it's a take, I think he's a Gator, but it kind of feels like the story of the tight ends this weekend was the position they're in for Kekua Amua. And yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's like, how many tight ends are you really looking at? I mean, not that it's, it's a position where Florida needs some help, but I'm not sure you're looking at a 3 tight end class, especially with like none of them being like elite prospects either. You know what I mean? It's like you're not looking at 2 of them are 3 stars. Is Hezekiah a 4-star?
Hezekiah, it's like 140s.
Okay. So he's a high really 4-star. Yeah, sorry, you're right. He's a high 4-star. But yeah, I mean, I think looking at it like, yeah, I think I'd probably lean towards Amua being the take here over Watkins, assuming it's only one of them, which is probably the safest bet.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Kekua is going to be a take. On 3 has put predictions in for Kekua, a lot more in for Kekua than 247 has one in for Watkins. 6'6", 257. Talked about earlier. I mean, wait, did we talk about it earlier about the Polynesian? Yeah, I think we did. Yeah,
we did. We talked about it.
I think they're a bit higher on him, although I'm pretty sure he only had like 3 catches last year, which is wild. But like, I mean, maybe that's something that, hey, he doesn't have much film out there, and he's already ranked as like in the 600s as a prospect. So get more playing time this year. IMG could rise up the rankings. Has 6'6", 257 here on 3. So I think he's a pretty good player. I mean, I think he could be a pretty good player, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's our next commit. Rob here. Sorry, I'll let you talk about Kakua if you have anything to say.
Oh, no, I was actually literally going to pull up Rob's comment. Yeah.
So from this weekend, Sedarian Morgan, 5-star. Jake Krull, nearly 5-star. I'd say, I don't know. I think we've cooled off Hezekiah Harris. Kevin Ford, 4-star edge. Wingo's just outside the 150 mark, but close enough. 4-star receiver out of St. Augustine. And that's just from this visiting class alone. I mean, you're looking at Jaraylen McCoy, we have predictions for. Vodney Cleveland, we have predictions for. Valden Stone, we have predictions for. Corners, CJ Bronow, Chauncey Keenan, you're really high on their boards. Mm-hmm. Carson Baker's just outside that 150 mark.
Yeah.
Cloud and Puma, an offensive tackle, you're looking at like who visits next week. There's some names, Braylon Womack technically as well. Hezi Kent, we mentioned earlier, also in that 150 mark. And then